The US, the Netherlands, and the UK have accused Russia's GRU military intelligence service of a string of cyber attacks on everyone from the International Chemical Weapons Watchdog to Russia's own news agency. And it didn't take long for the EU and NATO to join the chorus of claims.
There were hundreds of victims targeted by these Russian criminals.
The Russian government needs to know.
Russia's indiscriminate campaign
Exposed.
I want to fully condemn this attack.
This reckless pattern of behavior.
Irresponsible behavior from Moscow.
Let's now cross live to Caleb Maupin to hear about the reaction from Washington. What's been said there, Caleb? Any new evidence?
Well, we've got 7 Russians who've been charged by the U.S. Department of Justice with money laundering, identity theft, wire fraud, and hacking. Now, the indictment actually says that they did it on behalf of Russia's GRU. Let's take a listen to what exactly is being alleged.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining.
These 7 defendants are charged with a pervasive campaign of hacking, stealing private and sensitive information, and publicizing that information to retaliate against Russia's detractors and sway public opinion in Russia's favor.
Now, according to the allegations made by the Department of Justice, they're saying that these individuals targeted people for allegedly calling for a ban of Russian athletes from the Olympics in response to the doping scandal. They also allegedly targeted a nuclear energy company based in Pennsylvania. Now, it's also important to note, very important, that 3 out of the 7 Russians who have been charged have already been charged in previous indictments from the Bob Mueller investigation. So these are individuals that have already been named by the Department of Justice in previous indictments. So that's what we're looking at. This has all been alleged. The indictments are coming down from the Department of Justice.
RT's Caleb Maupin, thank you for bringing us that report. Now, as Caleb mentioned, the U.S. has indicted 7 people. 4 were expelled from the Netherlands, according to this morning's hearing. Polly Boyka has more on the findings of the Dutch and UK investigations.
These are 4 Russians that were recently expelled from the Netherlands for attempting to hack the OPCW in April while it was dealing with the investigation into the poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal. They released images of these 4 suspects in the Netherlands, their diplomatic passports, and at the very same briefing in The Hague, the British ambassador to the Netherlands accused the GRU of attempting to hack Porton Down, which is the UK's military laboratory here in the UK, and the UK Foreign Office in the wake of the Skripal case, the Skripal poisoning, and they accused GRU agents of attempting to hack the investigation into the downing of flight MH17 as well. That's a lot of allegations for one day, but it doesn't stop there. Take a listen to what the British Defence Secretary, Gavin Williamson, had to say about Moscow.
This is not the actions of a great power. This is the actions of a pariah state, and will continue working with allies to isolate them and make them understand they cannot continue to conduct themselves in such a way.
Why is he calling Russia a pariah state? Well, because the British government released a statement overnight accusing the GRU of being responsible for the hacking of WADA, that's the World Anti-Doping Agency, in the wake of the Russian doping scandal. They've accused GRU agents of being behind the hack on the DNC. That's those Clinton emails that we leaked in the run-up to the election of Donald Trump over in the US. And they also accuse Russian spies of hacking Ukrainian and Russian institutions and businesses. Russia's Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, spoke a little bit earlier on today, and she was asked about these British accusations. The Dutch and the American ones hadn't come to light yet, and she said that all the accusations against Russia in recent months have been conflated. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Everything is being mixed indiscriminately, as if in a bottle of Nina Ricci perfume. Russian military intelligence, cyber spies, Kremlin hackers, WADA. It's all just one big witch's brew. The imagination of our British colleagues knows no limits. Who could come up with all this? I'd like to take a look at these Hans Christian Andersens.
One more thing is that the Dutch government has also called in the top diplomat in the Netherlands, it's charge d'affaires there, into the Dutch Foreign Ministry in order to discuss the cyber attacks.
We had a chance to speak to Russia's envoy to the UK. He says from the British side, the evidence is still lacking.
We believe that this kind of statements are reckless, and I explain why. First of all, these statements are not supported by any evidence. This is first. Second, we hear this kind of allegations for quite a time. And in December 2017, when former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson was in Moscow, Sergei Lavrov, Russian Foreign Minister, offered him to have a consultations on the cybersecurity, and he said that if you have any questions in connection with the alleged Russian activity, we can put the specialists from two countries, sit down on the table and discuss professionally what are the concerns of the British side. The British refused to do this, and instead of that, they launched reckless attacks on us without any evidence. This is quite a vague story. You know, this is the name of the Russian intelligence organization, you know, a few names that are expelled and all these things. But the beef, I mean, this substance is not basically given. So we're going to ask the British side to give more information on that. And